Hello and welcome back to another video. Today going to be discussing the upcoming Forza Motorsport game after a trailer and gameplay demonstration were released a couple of weeks ago now. But I wanted to take a closer look at them and give my thoughts after looking at these two pieces of information. Let's start with the short trailer then first, which shows off the Cadillac V-Series R racing car and the Corvette E-Ray, which are going to be this game's cover cars. These were previously revealed. As far as I can tell though, these are the only two new vehicles shown. All of the other ones shown in this are in Horizon already, in the trailer itself at least. We'll get onto an image that was released alongside it in a minute. I did also notice that during this, in the My Cars tab, there's a heading called Place in Car Bay, so I could only assume this was so you can choose to allow to place cars, and apparently that is the case. You'll be able to place 4 vehicles on display of your choice in the garage that you kind of initially load into. There'll be one main car kind of in the middle, kind of like your Forza Vista car if you like, and then there'll be 3 other cars that you can choose to have shown off in the background. They also show off the new upgrade shop quickly in this trailer, which visually looks incredibly cool, but I think underneath that new skin, it's essentially the same as before. So I like all the new UI and stuff they're doing, but I think underneath all of that, it is actually quite similar to before. The Corvette E-Ray that they show off in the upgrade shop here, though, does look like it has a custom kit for it and some cool customization. Not quite the same kit as the one that's available on the standard Corvette in Horizon, but it does look kind of similar. But some cars, at least, will have some unique customization by the look of it. So anyway, although this trailer is cool and full of exciting action, I think it only really shows off 2 new cars, which were already confirmed as cover cars a little while ago. At the end, they also confirmed the release date, which is probably the most important piece of information here. This game will be released on the 10th of October this year. Like I said, although in the trailer there weren't actually many cars, they also released this image with a bunch of confirmed cars, including the coupe version of the Lamborghini Sian, which will be very cool to see, so that's new, and the Bentley Speed 8, which I think might also be new. But as far as I can tell, everything else in the image has been in previous Forza titles. All in all though, it kind of looks to me like, apart from the fresh UI, improved visuals and a few cars, it is worrying me a little bit that this game's going to be too similar to Forza Motorsport 7. Luckily though, that wasn't all of the information that we got. We also got a much more in-depth demonstration of how, kind of more specifically, the career mode is going to work, as well as a few other things, a couple of days after that short trailer that we started with. They said straight off at the beginning of that all the gameplay shown was at 4K 60 running on an Xbox Series X console, which I find a bit unlikely. I might be wrong about this, correct me if I am, but I'm pretty sure Forza Horizon 5, if you're playing it on a Series X, only runs at 30 frames if you're running it in 4K, or 60 frames if it's 1080p. I believe you have to have it on a visual setting or a performance setting. So I'm not sure how they've managed to optimize it for both, but if they have, that is incredible. But anyway, it does look actually pretty stunning in all of the trailers and gameplay reveals and everything that we've seen so far. Apparently the gameplay revolves around 3 elements: getting to know a car, building that car into a track-dominating machine, and competing with that car and winning. So getting to know the car, upgrading the car, and competing in the car are essentially the three core elements to this game. And this will be done through different events. So each event will include an open practice session, so that you get to know the car, a challenge the grid system, where you choose how and where you're going to start and difficulty and all sorts of things like that, and then going into the race itself. They say it has fresh and exciting events, but to me the themes and way it's been designed does look quite similar to before. Although, obviously, we have this new format of building the car, getting to know the car, and all of that. So it's a bit of a different format, but I think the events themselves are going to be pretty similar. So how it works is there's several tours, and each tour contains a selection of different themed events. So this one focuses on one of the first tours that you unlock, which includes a Built for Sport sports car event, which is what this demonstration kind of focuses on. For this, they drive the new Nissan Z, starting with open practice, which is also showing off the new edition of Kyalami, which is a brand new track for this game. During this, the game shows you in detail how fast you go through each corner, compared to previous laps, for example, to help you improve how you're driving, which I actually think is really cool. It kind of tells you exactly how fast you are through each segment and how you're driving. Although this also relates to a rather strange level system. So each car has its own level associated with it. So if you practice a lot in the same car, that car's level will keep going up, especially if you're driving well, for example. So I find that a bit odd. Apparently every car will have its own level, which I think is a little bit strange. But anyway, they then also reiterate about the fully dynamic time of day and weather, which is new on every track, which is fantastic to have. That's going to be great when it's in there. I mean, all games should really have that by now, but some of them don't, so that's good to know that that's there. I did notice, actually, a tiny detail, that the Z4s here had their roofs up when driving. Now, it might mean nothing, but in Horizon, the Z4's roof is always down, and that particular car has no roof functionality. You can't put it up and down or anything like that except in Forza Vista. So maybe that's changed here and we can put more roofs up and down, or maybe it's just permanently up because it's a track game rather than a driving game. But anyway, just a thought and just something I noticed there. Then we go on to the challenge, the grid, which is essentially your race settings, where you can change all sorts of things, and all of them affect the amount earned at the end of the race, although this time assists will not do that, so whether you're manual or automatic, traction control on or off, racing line, none of those will affect payouts, which I'm not really sure why. I would have thought it'd be better if just everything did, but it's just going to be down to AI difficulty and where you choose to start on the grid. So that is quite interesting, though, because you can choose everything down to the exact grid position you want to start in, depending on how risky you want to play it and how confident you are that you can win from further back, say. So that's quite interesting. I quite like that feature, and it was a 24-car grid as well, which is great to see. So that looks quite fun, but I'm not really sure why the difficulty and assists themselves don't affect payouts. But anyway, that looked like we had lots of options there at least. Then when we moved on to the race, on the grid, I did also spy some Lotus Evoras, which was of course absent from Forza Horizon 5, but had been in previous titles, but apparently that is back for this new motorsport game, which is great to see, because that's a car I do quite like. Apparently the AI race pretty fairly now, so in Horizon, for example, first place will always speed off faster than is possible, and if you're ahead, cars behind will set lap times that aren't possible to keep up, and if you're behind, the AI slow down a lot. Apparently that won't happen. The AI will just drive at the pace they drive at. So we'll wait and see, because apparently Forza have claimed this before, and it hasn't been true. They also talk about the new overhauled physics and handling, although I'm not 100% convinced it'll have changed as much as they want you to believe, so we'll have to wait and see how it actually plays once it's launched, I think, to kind of judge that. After the race, you can remove parts from your car to gain points back. So this is all a bit weird. Apparently, the parts that you put on your car, you don't pay for, you use points for them. A bit like, imagine how now in F1, for example, they have a certain number of points and things they can use that affects their budgets, but it's kind of not like that at all. But anyway, essentially you use points and you allocate them, but then if you take a part off, you get the points back to then spend on other parts. So it essentially means you're not spending any money upgrading cars, you're spending points, which you can get back if you don't like your upgrades and swap for something else. So all of your money is saved for buying cars. And I'm not sure I like this system, because it sounds like the points are going to be difficult to get, and they all apply specifically to the car that you've earned them in, so it sounds like upgrading and things is going to be a bit fiddly, and might take a while and become a bit irritating. And I don't really know why they've done it, because essentially it's so that all the money you earn can be spent on cars, but earning money was never difficult in Forza, so yeah, I don't really know why they failed to make this change, but anyway, they have. So we'll wait and see how that plays out once the game is here. And again, at the end of this demonstration, they remind us that the game will be releasing on the 10th of October, which is pretty soon, actually, so I'm kind of still excited, although, yeah, there's a few things I'm slightly concerned about with this game. So yes, the new Forza Motorsport on the surface looks pretty exciting so far. However, behind the new UI and a couple of new vehicles, to me there isn't much new or changed since Motorsport 7. Although that game was a long time ago now, so I could be wrong, my memory of that game might not be the best, but I'm not seeing anything game-changing. It all looks like a sort of evolving from that. There is, of course, also the improved AI and handling, but I'm not terribly convinced that they've changed very much. I'm not sure they'll have improved by much. I think those will have to hold out until the game releases to kind of form opinions on. I also really don't like the look of the upgrades not being bought with credits and having their own weird point system thing. But despite all of that, I am kind of, like I say, still looking forward to this game, as we are long overdue a motorsport title. It has been quite a while, so it will be great to have one again. And for me, this will be the first one I'm playing on PC, which will be absolutely fantastic. The last one I would have played on an Xbox One, of course. And this is all pretty soon, because the game releases on the 10th of October, which is great news. That's kind of, well, early, although it is almost exactly a month after the release of the Crew Motorfest, so I will of course be playing that first, and it'll probably be before Solar Crown, because we don't actually have a date for that yet. It just should be at the end of this year. Both of those, though, Motorfest and Solar Crown, I have to say I'm a lot more excited for than this motorsport game. I do look forward to playing this, but it's not different enough to the last one after so many years. The other two are also long awaited, but they look like they're new and different to their previous titles. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried that this might be a bit similar to 7, but like I say, even just playing it with the new latest tech and graphics and everything will be an improvement over that game, so I am still pretty excited for it. We will though then have 3 big new racing games to play throughout this autumn and winter, and then obviously I'll be continuing to play those after that, which is super exciting. It'll be nice to have something that isn't Horizon, because that's essentially all I'm playing at the moment, really. But yeah, I do look forward to hearing more about this game, and eventually being able to play it in October, of course, but for now, that is going to be all. So do let me know your thoughts on this upcoming game, and whether you're excited for it, or you'll be getting it, or whether you plan to. I certainly will, and yeah, I'm kind of excited, just not as much as I am for those other 2 games. But for now, that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next video very soon.